Here's his chance. 5 seconds to go. He's going to push forward. Oh, the super goal for the win with 3 seconds to go. Oh, what a insane match. Wow. Wow. That was crazy. But look at this. Oh, everyone is so grouped up. But can they get this kill? It's 7-10. They only need to get 1 kill and they can stop the countdown. They got to get Zulon or someone. Zulon is 300 health. Look at there. Down goes those two. And Feli can go back. They can just go back now. They don't need to click any of those gems. It's now 10-7. But there's enough time. It's now 10-10. There you go. They caught up just like that. Look at this comeback from Invictus underdogs. It's now 11-10. They now have countdown. They got to get 1 more gem to secure this victory. Now, they're just going to get damage while they get that. They don't need to get this last gem if they can get the kill. And just like that, they do get a kill. And now it goes down. The Pam, and now the Ricochet is almost down as well. 1 more shot. The Bear is pushing forward the spike. And just like that, Invictus underdogs make the comeback. Even though they had their Nita start late, they still were able to come back and get the victory. What's up, YouTube? It's Coach Cory, and the 2nd season of Pro Brawl League is set to start soon. Hope you enjoyed that little hype clip earlier on, back from some moments in Season 1. Well, Season 2, we are opening the qualifiers to the public, to everyone. Anyone can sign up to qualify for the 2nd season of Pro Brawl League. Now, from the teams from last season, 5 of them are pre-qualified for the next one, but there's 5 spots up for grabs for anyone, for any team. Now, we are making some changes to the 2nd season of Pro Brawl League, so I will talk about those, and towards the end of the video, I'll also briefly go over the rules so you can understand what to expect. But of course, there's going to be a link to the rules in the description to make sure you can read everything. If you want to sign up, you definitely need to, at least so you know what you're getting into and you understand the rules, right? You don't want to accidentally be breaking a rule and be punished for it. That wouldn't be very good. So, let's talk about the signups a little bit and the qualifiers as well. Just try and give you guys some info on what to expect, how you can sign up, all of that good stuff. Okay, so first off, there's 2 qualifiers, and 32 teams will be allowed to participate in the qualifiers. If you are one of those 32 teams, you are expected to go to both qualifiers. The only reason you wouldn't go to both is if you, for instance, got 1st place in the first one and you just decided not to go to the second one. That would be okay. Here's how you qualify. You have to get top 5 after both of those qualifiers are done based on points. Whatever placement you get for each qualifier will earn you a certain amount of points. For 17 through 32, you get 5 points. You get 5 points basically just for showing up. If you don't show up, you don't get any points. If you get 16 through 9, you get 15. If you get 8 through 5, you get 30. If you get 3 through 4, you get 45. If you get second, I don't remember off the top of my head, it's either 60 or 65 points. I think it's 65. And if you get first, you get 120 points, or it's 100 points. It's 100 points, sorry. It's 100 points. Yeah. So, you get those points for whatever placement you get, and you combine your points at the end of both qualifiers to determine the top 5 teams. So, if there's any sort of ties, the tiebreaker will be your win percentage for each set. Okay, so how well you do, whether you win 2-0 or whether you win 2-1, will definitely have an impact, or whether you lose 0-2 or lose 1-2 will have an impact in the tiebreaker for whether you qualify for next season. Now, there's a link to apply down in the description and in the pinned comment, so make sure not to miss out. Some important things in the application. 1, of course, you have to be able to attend the qualifiers. The first qualifier will be on November 1st, starting at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you go like all the way through the bracket, like once you lose, you're out. But if you keep on winning, it might end up lasting until around 8 p.m. Eastern would be my guess. Maybe a little later if there's a lot of mistakes, which the first one, you never really know. Okay, and the second one is a week later, Thursday, November 8th, starting at 5 p.m. Eastern. You're going to notice a trend here. All of the matches tend to start at 5 p.m. Eastern. Yes, I understand this time does not work for everyone. There's always going to be people who cannot compete no matter what the time is. I'm sorry, I cannot find a time that works perfect for everyone. And yes, some people are going to say, Cory, why don't you play on the weekends? And you're right, that probably would be a little bit better. But I want to have a life on the weekends. I already do daily videos. I do a lot of work on YouTube, and to be honest. I'm putting my own money in this league, put a lot of my time in this league. View-wise, it's not really worth it. I just do it because I want the scene to grow, and I want to be able to have my weekends. I don't want to have to stream for a couple hours in the middle of the day every single weekend. So that's why pretty much everything is going to be on Thursdays. Now, the other important thing is your team needs to have 6 players. In the form, make sure you put the Discord name. If they don't have a Discord, that's fine, but the captain needs to have a Discord. Put their Discord name, their in-game name, and their trophy high. Now, if over 32 teams apply, we will be picking the teams based on their average team trophy high. So we think that's going to be the fairest way for now to figure out what teams should be able to make it in. There might be a better way, and if you do think of a better way, put it down below. We're not going to change it for this season, but maybe we'll change it for next season. Now, I'll talk about the format in a moment. You can definitely, of course, just read the rules, and you'll figure it out there. But I will talk about the format. But also, we are still accepting applications for people to be league admin. If you want to help out, help run the league, help monitor the matches, help administer anything to do with the league, there is also a link to a form for that down below. We're still accepting people to help us with that. We definitely need any help we can get, especially for the qualifiers. We're going to need a lot of trial admin. So please apply if that is something you are interested in. If you're not interested, definitely don't apply. Because, I mean, look, it is volunteer hours. No one's making any money here. If anything, I'm losing money. So, hey, it's just for fun. Now, make sure, of course, to join the Pro Brawl League Discord. I'll put a link to that down below in the description as well. And, of course, another thing, actually, not of course, but if your team wants to have a team manager, you can. Actually, there's not a spot for that in the form, but after the 5 teams are selected from the qualifiers, 5 teams that win the qualifiers, then you can have a team manager. And the team manager is just someone who helps manage your team, but they're not a player. So it's an extra person who's not a player who can help make sure that you guys show up on time, that your roster's okay, that you're following the rules, all that sort of stuff. Now, here's a basic rundown of the format. We're making some changes from the first season. Now, keep in mind, our goal with Pro Brawl League is just to push, just to grow the esports league in Brawl Stars. Of course, we want to be the best esports league possible. Our goal, end result, is to try and speed up how soon it takes Brawl Stars to create an official Brawl Stars league. So we want to make it as focused on that as possible, trying to worry about things like viewer engagement, how simple is it to understand, how easy is it to do, how fun is it to follow, stuff like that. So some big changes we're making is in Season 1 of Pro Brawl League, before every single match, every team drafted what 3 brawlers they were going to play. In the second season, we are no longer doing that. Drafting is gone. Instead, what we are doing is before each best of 3, each team will ban 1 brawler, and that ban will apply to both teams, and it will only last for that best of 3. Now, of course, the best of 3s are still going to be in Gem Grab, in Heist, and in Brawl Ball, and the order of those game modes will be picked randomly. So there'll be a best of 3. For instance, it could be a best of 3 in Brawl Ball first, and then Heist, and then Gem Grab, and then the next week it might be like Gem Grab first, and then Brawl Ball, and then Heist. It will vary every single week. I use a random number generator to pick what game mode, like the order of the game modes. I also use a random number generator to pick the maps. But I will say, we're pretty positive we're not going to use koi fields because it's possible to get the ball stuck on the water, and that's definitely sort of game-breaking for competitive play. And we're also not going to do GG Corral because GG Corral is the most boring map for competitive play. And I did a video on this, so if you want to hear more about that, go ahead, I'll put a link above. But yeah, not doing GG Corral either. Now, another big change from last season is the league is going from band-based to team-based. Before it was like Nova Esports versus Tribe, and now, I mean, you can name your team Nova Esports, you can name your team Tribe, but the players from each team can be from any band. It's no longer band-oriented, and we would actually prefer it to be band-oriented, but you look at the leaderboards, the top 8 bands, the top 800 people for the most part are all from 2 organizations. And yeah, if we want to be the most competitive league, we just can't do band-based because it gets kind of boring because it's always just Nova versus Tribe, Nova versus Tribe, Nova versus Tribe, and then there's like 2 or 3 other teams that aren't. Not saying that they can't compete with them, but the majority of the top players are in those 2 organizations, and it doesn't seem fair to limit them because let's be fair, that's where majority of the top players are. So your players can be from any band. You need to have 6 players. Has to be 6. I don't think I said this. Has to be 6 players. Can't be 5. Can't be 7. Can be 6. Now you can change who those players are after the qualifiers are done, but once a player plays for your team, they can no longer play for any other team. Now, if your team does not make the qualifiers and you still want to play in Pro Brawl League, well, you can, but you're going to have to sit out the first 5 weeks of the regular season. Now, the reason we added this rule is we want to make it so Tribe and so Nova cannot stack the teams in the qualifiers. They do have some teams that are already qualified, and we want them to keep their best players on those teams that are already qualified. We don't want them trying to get as many players as possible, just trying to rig the system by putting their best players in the qualifiers and having them win those, and then also having the pre-qualified teams. We're trying to get that penalty to sort of discourage that to happen, because we don't want to have them stacking it too much. They still could do this, they could take the gamble, but we're hoping that's enough to limit that and still have a very competitive league. Now, even if you played a match for that team, your team can still take you off the roster. They just can't play for any other team, but you can still change up your subs, you can change up who is on your team. It just sort of limits. We're trying to not have too much team hopping. You don't see this sort of rule in professional esport leagues, but the reason why is because all the players are signed to contracts. So they're not really able to jump ship very easily. They're not able to leave teams. Yes, some roster changes happen, but it's at the discretion of the owner, basically, who signed these players or not, and those players aren't really able to leave by themselves. So this is sort of something to try and keep the teams together. We want to get some continuity. We want to create storylines. If people are constantly switching teams, it makes it harder to follow that team or follow that player. It makes it a little bit less exciting and a little bit different of a storyline perspective. Another big change from the first season is before, whoever played in the first set was not allowed to play in the second set. And the reason we did this was modeled after Clash Royale League, where they did that. Whoever played in the first best of 3 couldn't play the 2v2, but those are 2 different games. And now looking back, I don't really think this is needed. What I was trying to do was try and get more names on the board. I wasn't sure if 3 players was enough of attention grabbing, because you look at a lot of the MOBAs, there are 5 players, and you see 5 players, and to me, I thought 5 sounded kind of cool. I thought 3 was maybe not enough. We're not doing that this season. Now, if you want to play every single match, you can play every single match. You can have the same 3 players play every single match, or if you want, you can switch them too. You're allowed to put in subs as much as you want, but once you start those 3 players on that set, they have to finish that set. You can't swap players mid-set, only after a set is done, or before it starts, basically. Another thing to keep in mind is the first week of Pro Brawl League after the qualifiers, like after all the teams, all 10 teams are set. Here's the basic rundown. Every single team will play each other once. The top 4 teams will make it to the playoffs, but the top 6 teams will qualify for the 3rd season of Pro Brawl League. Another thing is the first date of the regular season is actually going to be on a Tuesday. I know, kind of awkward, but it's Tuesday, November 20th at 5 p.m. Eastern. It's not on the Thursday because the Thursday is Thanksgiving. I know this only affects American players, but that's probably a good portion of our players, so we want to try and avoid that. Also, I have Thanksgiving then, so I can't stream then as well. I'm American, I'm sorry, that's just sort of how it works. So it's going to be on Tuesday, but after that, every single match is going to be on a Thursday. The other thing to keep in mind is we're taking a 2-week break for the holidays. I know this is awkward, but we really can't do much about that. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't be able to play around the holidays for whatever holiday they celebrate. Usually people are pretty busy around those times, and we want to put the focus on family then. This is just a game. We don't want to go too hardcore on running that sort of thing during the holidays. So we're just going to take a 2-week break during that, and then we'll be back at it. Also, we're hoping, I mean, we don't know if the next update's global, but it would be nice if it is, and that might help out then, too. More people coming in when it's global. That'd be kind of cool. Now, last season, I put in $50 to the prize pool, and one person donated another $50, which was awesome. Shout out to OG who did that. This season, I'm not quite sure what to do. Do you guys want me to put up a thing for donation where you can donate money to help the prize pool? Or is it still too early for that? Should I wait for the league to grow some more before allowing people to donate? I'm not quite sure what to do as far as the prize pool. It's hard for me to put in a lot of money because this happens a couple times a year, and if for the most part, the only one who puts in money besides OG, who did last year. Shout out to him. So I don't know what's going to happen this year. But let me know what you guys think about that down below. But I mean, guys, that's going to be it for today's video for the most part. I hope you are excited for the second season of Pro Brawl League. Oh, yeah. I don't know why I didn't mention this, but I will be streaming every single match on my Twitch, I think. I don't know. YouTube gaming is definitely improving, so maybe I'll go back to YouTube. But for now, it's going to be streamed on my Twitch, twitch.tv/CoachCoryYT is my Twitch. All right, guys, this is going to be it for today's video. Let me know your thoughts down below. I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you later.